Today we're going to run a few ballistics tests on our ballistic skull here. Shooting in more of a bowl similar to the UVU courtyard. We're surrounded on all sides by cliff face, way more similar to the UVU courtyard where Charlie was assassinated. Now a theory is that Charlie was shot from the right side, with the bullet entering here behind his ear and passing through to the side of his neck. The theory would be that this wound on his neck was an exit wound and not an entry wound. Another theory is he might have been shot through the side of the neck, but today we're going to test behind the ear and out the neck, which as you can see is a pretty extreme angle. If Charlie was shot from the right, the shooter would have had to have been at an elevated position. For this shot, I will be using a 9mm. I'll be using a hollow point round. A hollow point will blossom and expand as it hits soft flesh. So we went in behind the ear here, and something I was not expecting, we had no exit wound. The bullet is lodged here in the neck. Now this bullet was subsonic, so I'm going to try again with a higher powered round. So luckily I brought a supersonic round and then also a target grade round, non-hollow point if we can't actually punch through. This time we have a definite exit wound. We have some skull fragment in here, some bone fragment. You can see here where it exited. The skull has been mostly shattered at the rear here. That hollow point did a lot of damage. All right, now let's attempt the shot with a 30-06.
According to the FBI, the 30-06 is the official caliber that killed Charlie.
I'm using a soft tip bullet. This will aid with expansion, and this bullet would be the most likely to actually lodge inside of someone, to actually stay in flesh. Although as you're about to see, the 30-06 is going to leave a massive hole. I think there's a definite exit wound here.
The doctor called Charlie Kirk a man of steel. He said that it was a miracle that the bullet didn't penetrate all the way through him. Even if Charlie got hit C3, C4 right in the spine, there's no way it didn't just blow out the back of him. So I'm using a 180 grain ballistic tip 30-06 round. This is a hunting round built for rapid expansion and devastating shock. I strongly believe the shooter would have used this type of ammo if he was looking to shoot to kill and create the most devastating and life-threatening wound possible.
Let's also shoot the ballistic skull with a few different calibers so you can see the impact that they have and the damage that they would cause. Starting out with a 32 caliber, a fairly small round. Can't even tell I shot it. I guess a little bit. Oh, we got some bleeding finally. All right, next up is 5.56. A lot of people wanted me to test this ammo.
The FBI has officially said that the 30-06 was the caliber that killed Charlie. But you can see from my video and hundreds of others, from hunters, from gun experts to snipers, a 30-06 rifle round leaves a much bigger hole.
One of the early theories was that Charlie was wearing body armor and he was actually shot in the chest, but since he's wearing armor, it deflected off the lip of his armor into his neck. Bought some t-shirt armor. This is a 3A panel. Now Bob here is more muscular than Charlie was, but you can get the general idea. Something you'll notice right away is this is very obvious, even in black. Turn Bob to the side here. This panel is really pronounced. Even more pronounced with the Freedom shirt. We can see a very obvious silhouette and outline of this armor. The thing to note about this armor is it's soft, it's flexible. This thing is meant to defeat pistol rounds. It says on the back, not intended to protect against rifle fire. This thing will go up to a 44 Magnum. Did we really think it's gonna make a rifle round like a 30-06 bounce off of it? It's not gonna fragment it, it's not gonna ricochet it. This soft armor is meant to absorb the impact of a pistol round and disperse the force. It's not like a steel plate. It's not like a level 3 steel plate where it'll bounce off just because it's thick steel. Theory, we're gonna do hard tip 30-06 bullets. So I'm gonna do my damnedest to try to just hit the lip here of this armor and see what happens. The theory is this armor pushed out of his chest and that created that image and then ricocheted up into his neck. I'm gonna tape some paper to his face, see if anything does come up from it. I mean, I'm right on the top here. Nothing done. I'll tell you right now, every single one of these rifle rounds penetrated this armor. To think a bullet could hit the lip of this and not just penetrate, I mean, there's your proof right there. Now, our next theory is the exploding lavalier microphone. People are saying his microphone exploded, which then shot out a projectile into his neck. Now, how do you control an explosion and shoot a projectile in your intended direction? Sounds awfully like a bullet. If his lavalier microphone simply exploded and had a projectile in it, there's no way to ensure that it would actually hit Charlie, besides it just detonating on that spot on his chest where we didn't see any kind of wound or indication that anything had actually exploded. The most obvious thing to do would be to load a bullet into the microphone with some sort of electronic remote trigger to fire the bullet through a chamber that would direct it towards Charlie. The problem with this theory, though, is even if the lavalier microphone was sitting flush on the chest, the trajectory of the bullet would not go into the neck. It would shoot past the neck. Now, another theory is the projectile went up through his skull, bounced around a few times, and then exited his neck. This would actually be more plausible, but we didn't see any kind of wound here beneath his chin. And the biggest smoking gun is this magnet itself. If his microphone did explode, this magnet would pop off. I'm going to test that theory with a CO2 canister I've placed beneath the magnet. This will create enough force to blow that magnet off, similar to a mic explosion. Not only did the CO2 canister jettison that magnet, it left a sizable hole in this shirt. Dang, that was a magnet from my other microphone. I don't think we're ever gonna see that again. All right, now let's talk about a camera gun or a palm pistol. There's some theories that Charlie's cameraman was in on it and was concealing a pistol below his camera rig. Looking at the video itself, I don't see any felt recoil. Also, no one looked in his direction after the shot. Even a subsonic round would draw the attention of someone standing right next to you.
Now, the palm pistol is an interesting theory. Typically, these are .32 caliber. It's a pretty light round, not incredibly accurate. And like I've said in other videos, it would be incredibly easy to bring a gun into this event, a palm pistol, a smaller frame 9mm, because people weren't checking bags at the door, and UVU is a concealed carry university, meaning if you're 21 years or older, you are allowed to have a concealed handgun if you have your concealed weapons permit.
But to test this, we're actually not going to look at video. We're going to listen to the audio. It's really easy to look at a bunch of pixels or something that flew across the screen and say, oh, that's the smoking gun. That's what happened. Not many people are actually listening to the audio of the shot. There was only one shot, and by analyzing that audio, we can compare it to a 9mm or a smaller caliber handgun up closer to Charlie based on the microphone position from the videos we have of the shooting. All right, I've switched the audio on this camera to the microphone on top of it. This Rode microphone here. 32 caliber.
For this audio test, I shot 9mm and .32 caliber to the right side of Charlie, where this microphone would be with these people recording up on that first story above the courtyard. A supersonic bullet will break the sound barrier. That sonic wave will come before the actual crack of the gunshot. When you are close to a gun, you're going to hear that sonic boom and the gunshot pretty much simultaneously because it's so close. The closer a gun is, the closer together that boom and shot are going to be. If you're a few yards from a gun, it's going to happen simultaneously. You're not going to hear the boom and crack, as evident from these pistol rounds up close. For the next test, I'll be shooting an AR-15, a 300 blackout rifle, and a 30-06. I'll be shooting from 50 yards, 100 yards, and 150 yards. See if you can hear the sonic boom and the gunshot following. If we listen to the pistol, it sounds like a single shot. Now let's listen to the actual shot again from the near microphone. I'm definitely hearing a sonic boom followed by the crack of the gun. If we look at the waveform from the 30-06, the rifle round, it's even more pronounced. Remember, this is a 30-06 at 150 yards. You're going to hear one immediately followed by the other. We'll play it with some background noise as well. Original shot, our shot. My dilemma here is it sounds like a 30-06, but the wound doesn't look like it was made by a 30-06. I'm presenting this to you. You can draw your own conclusions. I am pretty convinced this was a high-powered rifle round. The next step would be testing it against other rifles, maybe suppressed, because this still doesn't add up. We're all doing the best with the information that we were provided, which is not a lot to go on. I will encourage you to take the opinions of others and combine it with your own. Take everything with a grain of salt and understand that we might never get the full story. The most plausible theory that I personally believe in is that there was a second shooter, that Tyler was the fall guy, the patsy. You've got this guy after the shot pumping his fists in the air saying, USA, USA. You got this child predator guy saying, I'm the shooter, I'm the shooter. And then you've got this guy dressed in black running along the rooftop. With what gun? There's no verifiable footage of him ever holding the murder weapon. In a future video, we're going to be talking about Tyler Robinson, tracking his path, the text messages, and then we're also going to set up a live fire scenario if there was a second shooter. Please like and subscribe for the YouTube algorithm. They like to suppress these types of videos. I'm Cameron Vance, and I'll see you in the next video.